Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 3 of Deathedge's Wrestling Corner. While the rest of the world is focused on the NBA draft, we, the Wrestling Nation, are focused on TNA Impact. Well, except for the ones that have already long since given up on TNA, and I do gotta tell you though, you might want to check it out because they have gotten a lot better. Tonight's Impact was great, and I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of been denying the fact that TNA's been improving. I've given them some credit, but I haven't given them full credit. But tonight showed me that this could be for real. I mean, aside from tonight's ending, which we will of course get to, tonight's Impact was excellent. So let's just dive right into this recap. The show started off with a little video package thrown together for Austin Aries giving up the X Division Championship. Whether he'll give it up for a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. Oh wait, he's already given it up. Sorry. And also about the AJ Styles Dixie Carter storyline and how the... Can I just say something right quick? Was that really the best they could come up with? I mean, that was a Vince Russo twist. Actually, no. I bet you if Vince Russo was watching at home, even he was smacking his head. Because that was the most outlandish possible twist I could think of. And, oh my lord, I still could not believe that. I really, really couldn't. Now, as for Austin Aries, I hope he wins the World Heavyweight Championship, but I have my doubts. Anyway, after that, we see AJ and Dixie just chatting it up. AJ promises he's going to beat up Daniels later tonight. Apparently, the main event is a tag team title match between AJ and Angle versus Daniels and Kazarian. And then we finally go into the arena. Tenay and Taz remind us about the Bound for Glory series and about the tag team title match. And then we see Dixie and Claire walking backstage, which, by the way, I gotta say, I kind of think that sort of shows that TNA has tape segments, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm full of it. Anyway, it starts off with a very good match between Mr. Anderson and Rob Van Dam. The only thing I didn't like was the ending. RVD managed to roll up Anderson to get the pinfall. I was kind of hoping that the match would go on a little bit longer, but all in all, it was a good match. And then right afterwards, believe it or not, we didn't get a commercial after a match. Austin Aries actually got to go out there. And he basically talks about how deciding whether or not he will give up the X Division title was a difficult decision, but the fact is he's moved past the X Division and that he's moving on up because he needs a challenge. And then he announces that there will be a tournament at Destination X to determine a new X Division champion and says that he is excited for it. Yeah, I am too, but whatever. Well, I should wait until after the segment to say that. Sorry. Bobby Roode then came out there, and him and Aries went back and forth. Roode talked about how he's built the World Heavyweight title all by himself, and says that Option C is nothing but a failure. By the way, can I ask anyone who listens to this exactly what he means by that? Because I admit I haven't been watching Impact too much lately, so I'm not really sure what Option C is, to be honest. That out of the way. I'm sorry for my ignorance. He begins saying that Aries is setting himself in the X Division up for failure, and that he will make sure that Aries fails, and then Aries basically challenges Roode to a fight, but Roode leaves. And then afterwards they show a clip from Claire's confession of the AJ Dixie situation, which just makes me laugh every time. And Claire's being interviewed with Dixie, and they're basically just spewing the same stuff that we all already know. And then it cuts to Kazarian arguing with Daniels, basically saying, "You made me betray my best friend. Do you know all the crap you put me through, etc., etc." And Kaz leaves while Daniels looks sad. Well, not sad, but upset. So then, after a commercial, we come back to TNA, and I gotta tell ya, Sanjay Dutt, I was psyched to see him back, but more importantly, this Rubik's guy, I want to see more of him. He looked pretty good in the ring. And he had a pretty unique look. I've never seen a guy with a bunch of puzzle pieces on his tights, and they looked pretty cool. That, and I'm a sucker for the red and black look. I don't care what the designs are. Red, black, always works out. There are no exceptions to that rule that I can think of. But it was a very excellent, high-flying match. And Dutt wins, and the only thing that I did not like is Dutt won, by the way, with an awesome moonsault stomp. I mean, that was just amazing. My jaw dropped. But the only thing I did not like is the promo that Sanjay cut afterwards. Dutt reminded me that he's never exactly been the best on the mic when he said that nobody on the corner has swagger like me. Come on, dude. That is an old reference. No one is referencing MIA in this day and age. Anyway, we then see a video of Pritchard, Taz, and Snow talking about the gut check competition. But right before we go to commercial, and then when we come back, we see a video of Taz, Snow, and Pritchard all talking about Taylor Hendricks. And they were all, of course, saying that they're still up in the air about her. And whether they would buy a pay-per-view if she was on it. May I just say that TNA does not exactly throw the Knockouts division as the selling point for a pay-per-view. I've never seen them go, ooh, and Mickie James takes on Madison Rayne, and they're like marketing the crap out of that match. And I'm not going to lie, it's probably better that way. Not to say that Mickie James and Madison Rayne aren't very talented competitors, but the storylines in the Knockouts division sometimes tend to be lackluster. And unfortunately, and I will put emphasis on unfortunately because I do find it unfortunate, women's wrestling kinda is tough to get people to really pay attention to. And that's not to say there are no good female promotions out there. I know that Canada has a particularly strong female promotion, but all in all, here in the US of A, we don't seem to have that much of an interest and market for the female wrestling. Next, we get to match number 3, Bound for Glory Series match. I should point out, because it slipped my mind, the RVD match was also for Bound for Glory. And it's Bully Ray versus Samoa Joe, and to my shock, Joe wins. They're letting Joe win again. And he wins, he receives 10 points the way he wins. And I'm going to be honest, this match, it kind of drug on for a little while. Wasn't a bad match, it was okay. It just went on for a little bit too long. The ending is what brings it down to be kind of a crummy match, because Joseph Park came out there and he smacked Bully Ray and Joe won dirty. But then Joseph says that he's been bullied all of his life, which I do not believe. Okay. Just to let people know, it's kind of hard to bully a guy Joseph Park's size. Good luck bullying a guy Joseph Park's size. If you can find a way, well, good for you. But then it shows after that, Joseph promises to, he promises that he'll never be bullied again, and that in 2 weeks they will fight again. And Ray agrees to it. So then we go backstage and see Claire and Dixie again. They answer some more questions. And they talk about the hotel room. And I'm going to point out, I'm not kidding here. During this segment, after they brought up the hotel room, I did bring up I made a prediction about the next turn the storyline would go. And I was right. I have people who can back me up on that. So no one can say I never get a prediction right, because I did get that one right. But anyway, then we see Kaz in Hogan's office, and it's just Hogan saying, prove it, and Kaz is talking about how everything's Daniel's fault and that he doesn't want to team with them tonight, but Hogan still makes them because Hogan's a jerk. By the way, what I need to point out is that Hogan, so far as an authority figure, has been pretty good. He, to my shock, has managed to really float into the background. I'm proud. As long as his ego doesn't get in the way and he becomes center of attention again, I will continue to like this. Anyway, after a commercial break, Madison, Rain, and Garrett have an awkward conversation. Madison's all like, I have a crush. And then she's like, what's he like? And then he whispers his name in his ear and he just smirks and walks away. Not sure what to really make of that. But if I had to guess, because it's Garrett Bischoff, I'm guessing he probably went running down the hallway. He's like, oh my god, guys. I know who Madison's crush is. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I will not go off like that again. Next, we have a TNA X Division Tournament match, another one. Mason Andrews versus Rashad Cameron, both making their debuts, and I have to say, both of them made a very nice debut. Rashad won with something that looked kind of like the lie detector. Oh, excuse me, the little Jimmy. And it's pretty clear that Rashad has a gangster gimmick, as he talks about how it's Philly 215 all day. And I'm not gonna lie, I've never been really big in the gangster gimmicks because it tends to be just generic, but it can work. New Jack's made it work for years. Though many people are quick to point out that his wrestling ability is, well, he makes Cena look like a technical god. So next we see Taylor Hendricks backstage looking really nervous. And we also see James Storm and Jeff Hardy in Hogan's office after a commercial, of course. And they bring up Sting. Not really sure what happens to Sting. And Hogan basically tells Jeff Hardy and James Storm that they're main eventing the show next week. And they brought up Sting very briefly, but no real big news on Sting and his situation. So then, Jeremy Borash, Taz, and Al Snow say that Taylor Hendricks is good in their book. Well, Al's the one who says no. By the way, because Al's always in the middle, I think it's kind of funny because I highly doubt they'll ever have them say, to a guy say yes and then have it not come down to a tiebreaker. All I have to say about Taylor Hendricks is that her personality seems rather lacking. I hope I'm wrong and maybe it's just initial impression and lack of mic time, but right now she seems to just be kind of a wooden figure. Who knows? She seems like a nice enough girl, though. And the crowd was really behind her, which is always good. The only thing of note is that Joey Ryan interrupted this and began picking a fight with Taz. So then, Kurt Angle and AJ's backstage. Angle says the old AJ is back, in that they're going to win tonight. And AJ also announces that he has Daniels in a Falls Count Anywhere match at Destination X, which I'm sure will be awesome. I mean, for real. AJ and Daniels, whenever they hook up, they are always great. And then finally, we get the TNA World Tag Team Championship match. AJ Styles and Kurt Angle versus Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. Like I said, the ending of tonight's show is bad. Because, and I'm not saying that the swerve was bad. The match ends with Daniels knocking the ref and Kurt Angle out of the ring. And then he goes and he gets a steel chair. And I'm sorry, my mic almost fell off. And I'm always having mic issues. But then he gets a steel chair and Daniels gets into the ring. And he's preparing to hit AJ with it, but Kazarian stops him. And then tells AJ to finish Daniels off, and he prepares to leave. But then when AJ's getting ready to go for his finisher, the Styles Clash, Kazarian comes back in there, and I'm using this in a loose term, because the one thing that did kind of ruin this ending is that the steel chair shot looked pretty fake. I didn't even hear a big bang, so I'm not sure if that was sound issues or not, but either way, it took away from it. We hear that, we see that, and then it's basically revealed that Kazarian just tricked everybody, and him and Daniels are not broken up. And then Daniels says that they have become the new TNA World Tag Team Champions, and that Claire, this is Daniels saying it, Claire only told half the truth, and he reveals that Claire's baby is actually AJ Styles's. And Dixie, basically, it seems like she's trying not to believe it, but Claire looks really shook up about it, and Daniels begins laughing as Impact comes to a close. Okay, this is the current state of TNA. They have a chance to become what a wrestling promotion should have been a long, long time ago. Wrestling oriented, but with enough sports entertainment quality sprinkled in that the casual wrestling fan will still come in. That being said, if they continue to make the sports entertainment storylines, that decisions that they are making are just ludicrous. I mean, okay, fine. You got Joseph Park, Abyss, and he's obviously Abyss. Joseph Park and Abyss are the same person. I will give TNA credit, though. They're doing a very good job of hiding it. I mean, they might even hire someone completely new to come back and play Abyss, but I think they'd get caught pretty quickly. That's pretty hard to do in this day of age of the internet and whatnot. But the storyline overall just has not been very interesting, and Joseph is just not that interesting a character, although that being said, I guess a lot of people are going to relate to the character who was bullied his whole life, and then he decides to stand up and he pummels the bully, and everyone, I think, knows that that's how this is going to end. Either that or Abyss comes in and begins beating the crap out of Bubba. Well, Bully, excuse me. He's not Bubba Ray anymore, he's Bully Ray. Might I just say that ring name is stupid? Anyway, you have this other angle. This love... No. You have AJ Styles, who is a married man, by the way. They have said on TV that he is a married man. Basically, having an affair with this drug addict after everyone was faking that... Well, after Daniels and Kazarian was trying to make it look like AJ and Dixie are having an affair. When in reality, Dixie, the phone call was just in TNA Impact.com. ImpactWrestling.com has a transcript and audios on their YouTube channel of this, with them planning a surprise party for Dixie's father. Go ahead. I'm sorry, but the whole thing is just idiotic. I don't get the appeal. Maybe some people see the appeal in this whole little thing with the pregnant baby and stuff, but I don't. It's somewhat offensive, but I guess TNA can do the whole shock value thing, and I think that's what this is really all about. It's just shock value. They're trying to have a shocking angle, and really all they're doing is making it stupid. Also, why did Daniels and Kazarian go so far to try and make Dixie and AJ look like they were having an affair? They could have just flat out came out and said that AJ was having a legit affair instead of trying to pull a big fake over. It still would have ruined AJ's life, and they really don't have much reason to go after Dixie. Maybe the purpose was that Dixie's father would kick AJ to the curb or something, but clearly that didn't happen. In fact, I find it kind of weird, but Dixie's, husband has only popped up on screen once since this whole thing started. How does this whole thing make him feel? That's something I'm curious about. In fact, that's the one thing I've been most curious about since they tried to pull this whole cheating angle. And then they had it revealed that they were trying to be helpful. Try to make Dixie look like a humanitarian, and that all in itself is just kind of a cheap cop-out move. Although I'm sure Dixie's probably is a legitimately nice girl in real life, but you don't have to convey that on screen. And if you are going to convey it on screen, you don't have to introduce a new character whose shtick is that she's a pregnant drug addict who got pregnant by a happily married man. And by the way, AJ's revealed that he's had parental issues in his life. So if you really think about it, they were trying to imply that well, no, never mind, because they don't imply AJ ever tried to leave her. In fact, AJ is trying to help her through her drug problems. But still, that makes it kind of worse, though, doesn't it? Because that means that she had drug problems when she was pregnant. Or at least it could mean that, because they haven't really gone into detail about exactly when this problem happened with her. They haven't gone into enough detail with her character, although I'm sure they're going to. Ultimately, the point I'm trying to say is this. TNA needs to get the sports entertainment aspects of their product that they are still trying to have. If they can finally get it to a point where they're nailing it, they will be a legitimate threat to WWE. They will be a wrestling company that has enough sports entertainment to attract both wrestling purists and the typical non-wrestling watching demographic. And that is very important in this to have a successful wrestling business. WWE figured out how to do it early on, but now they're starting to lose track with the wrestling purists. And ultimately, that could lead to WWE's downfall, but if TNA strikes at just the right time, I promise you we will see Impact Wrestling finally rise and finally be that #2 promotion that we've always wanted to have since the death of WCW. I hope that day comes. I know a lot of people who know me disagree with me, but I've always been a TNA fan. I've always wanted to see them succeed. It's just every time they show promise, every time they find a way to mess it all up. This time, I have a feeling that this is the time for them. And if they are wrong, and if I am wrong, and they mess this all up again, and I mean mess it up in a big way, not just take a little bump in the road, if they go one step forward, then 2 steps back, once again, I will give up on this company. I will be done with it. I know ultimately that doesn't matter because a lot of people are loyalists. A lot of people enjoy going to the free shows they have in Orlando. Although now they're trying to move out of Orlando, which is the smartest thing they have ever tried to do. Because the fact of the matter is they need ticket sales because their pay-per-view sales haven't been going up very much. They're taking a very slow rise. And their attendance in the shows that they do outside the U.S. out of Orlando are kind of poor. Their biggest crowd was in London, which I think is interesting. Anyway, that's all for today. That's my recap. Tomorrow we take a look at Friday Night SmackDown, see how they hold up. Oh yeah, the final analysis, this show was good, ending was bad. The match of the night, I'm gonna give the edge. I'm giving the edge to, barely, but it's Mason Andrews and Rashad Cameron. But I gotta tell you, any match could have been, where all the matches were good with the exception of Bully Ray and Samoa Joe, and that was only because it dragged on a bit too long. The surprise of the night, I'll say it was Joey Ryan showing up. I did not see Joey Ryan showing up and get into a fight with Taz at all. Also, I guess Bully Ray promising to stand up to the Bully was kind of shocking, but I think a lot of people probably saw that coming. And then the flop of the night, most definitely the ending to the night when Daniels revealed that AJ has been cheating on his wife with that Claire chick. And you know what, right quick, just so I don't look like a total ignoramus, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I am right about AJ. Let me just make 100% sure, that way I can go ahead and correct myself at the very end of this show, and if I'm right, if I'm wrong, I'll look like an idiot. Nope, he's married and he has 3 sons. Well then. Go figure. Actually, ironically, the first son is actually named after Christopher Daniels. Well then. That's kind of funny. His middle name, that is. Anyway, I got that from Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is a useful resource. That being said, This is Deathedge signing off, hoping TNA continues to get better and that this new development ends quickly in a sensical way. Please, TNA, we don't need nonsensical twists. At this point, we just want this storyline to end. Put AJ and Daniels in a feud, more wrestling oriented. That's what we want to see out of them. This is Deathedge signing off. Good night, everybody.